They used incredible weapons, absolutely.
Experimental weapons?
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, they shoot the boss. We saw the boss as like a cloth, like a wet cloth. It seems like a Volkswagen. Big boss, like a Volkswagen.
This testimony was reported to American filmmaker Patrick Dillon a few weeks after the battle for the airport. The person interviewed, Majid Al-Ghazali, is a well-known and respected man in Baghdad, who is the first violinist in the city orchestra. In addition to describing the battle, Majid Al-Ghazali
update technology. They used a unique one. It's like lasers.
We found another disturbing document on the use of mysterious weapons in Iraq, which refer to episodes taking place almost at the same time as those described by Majid Al-Ghazali.
26 in the past, about 20 of them, some of them have no head, the head being cut. Some of them, the arms, the legs. The only one who didn't injure was the driver. And really, I don't know how he reached our hospital. Because one hand, one arm was in his lap, one head beside him. It was a very, very horrible thing. In the roof of the car, there was part of the body, momentum, intestine, brains.
Yes, all parts of the body.
It was miserable. It was very, 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 very. I told them before.
Do you have idea with what kind of weapons they attacked that bus?
The bus, we didn't know what kind of weapon would be hit. Really, what we saw, cut arms, cut legs, cut head, abdomen, open abdomen, viscera outside.
It seems to be a new weapon.
It seems a new weapon.
They try to do experiments on our civilian.
We don't know what was.
Nobody can identify what the type of this weapon.
We went to Belgium to find the filmmaker of the sequence, Geert van Moorter, a doctor working as a volunteer in Iraq.
Here in this footage is taken in the hospital, the General Teaching Hospital in Hilla, which is about 100 kilometers from Baghdad and close to the historical site of Babylon. Here we had a talk with the colleague Dr. Saad Al-Faluji, which is the chief surgeon in that hospital. Dr. Al-Faluji said to me that from the survivors that he operated, that they said they did not hear any noise. So there was no explosion to hear, no metal fragments or shrapnels or bullets in the bodies. So they themselves were thinking of some strange kinds of weapon which they did not know.
Let's hear Dr. Saad Al-Faluji's story about this more in detail.
In this past, it was very crowded. They went from Hilla to Kifil to see their families. But before they leave the checkpoint of American checkpoint, they returned back. They said to them, please return, the villagers. They said to them, return back, return back. When he tried to return back, they shoot him from the checkpoint.
No gunshot wounds.
No, I don't know what it was really. We are here 10 surgeons. We couldn't decide what was the weapon which been hit this car.
But inside the bodies you did not discover ordinary bullets.
All of them we didn't find bullets.
Yeah.
We didn't find bullets. But most of the injured people been dead. So they took them immediately to the refrigerator. We couldn't dissect and see. But those who are alive, we couldn't find any kind of shells. We didn't find shells inside their body.
Something cutting organs, cutting limbs, attacking the neck, attacking the abdomen, and goes out.
Dr. Faluji also ended up speaking about a laser weapon.
But I don't think the bombing and the cluster bombs and the laser weapons could bring democracy to our country.
As in any war, the war in Iraq left us a dreadful gallery of horror, images of mutilations that not even doctors can explain. The witnesses refer to laser weapons, arms with mysterious effects. We do not know what kind of weapons could produce such terrible effects. We tried to learn more about it by asking for interviews to members of companies manufacturing laser and microwave weapons. Yet, the U.S. Defense Department prevented any information from being released to us. They also did not answer, up to the time the film was edited, the questions we had sent them in order to know whether or not experimental weapons had been tested in Iraq and Afghanistan. We tracked down the Pentagon press conferences from before the beginning of the Second Gulf War to see if they spoke about any new weapons being tested. The words of the Secretary of Defense and General Mayers indicate a willingness to try weapons that had never been used before, and the questions from the press about direct energy and microwave weapons made them visibly uncomfortable.
Mr. Secretary, can I ask you a question about some of the technology that you're developing to fight the war on terror, specifically directed energy and high-powered microwave technology? When do you envision that you can weaponize that type of technology?
Goodness. It is in, for the most part, the kinds of things you're talking about are in varying early stages. Do you have anything you'd add?
I don't think I would add much. I think they are in early stages and probably not ready for employment at this point.
In the normal order of things, when you invest in research and development and begin a developmental project, you don't have any intention or expectations that one would use it. On the other hand, the real world intervenes from time to time, and you reach in there and take something out that is still in a developmental stage, and you might use it. So your question's not answerable. It depends on what happens in the future and how well things move along the track, and whether or not someone feels it's appropriate to reach into a development stage and see if something might be useful, as was the case with the unmanned aerial vehicles.
But you sound like you're willing to experiment.
I think that's the point, and I think, we have, I think, from the beginning of this conflict, I think General Franks has been very open to looking at new things if there are new things available, and has been willing to put them into the fight even before they've been fully wrung out. And I think that's not referring to these two particular cases of directed energy or high-powered microwave, but sure. And yes, we will continue to do that.
But what is meant by direct energy microwave weapons? we went to ask ex-Colonel John Alexander, former program director in one of the most important military research laboratories in the U.S., Los Alamos National Laboratory.
The research and certainly the concepts for directed energy weapons go back many decades. What is happening is that the technology has now advanced sufficiently that we're starting to see the weapons come into fruition. In other words, they're becoming real. There are several types of directed energy weapons, and basically what they do is they're known as speed of light because they shoot electrons very fast over very long distances. Lasers, of course, are in the light range. Then there's microwave weapons that are operating at other frequencies, but basically they're beam weapons in which nothing physical goes out. The electrons move, but the kinetic weapons you're talking about, you're shooting big bullets to go out and